Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A barrier consisting of a horizontal bar and supports. Enclose with rails. Rail in the old graves. Criticize severely. She railed against the bad social policies. Complain bitterly. Separate with a railing. Rail off the crowds from the presidential palace. Spread negative information about. Travel by rail or train. They railed from Rome to Venice. A bar or pair of parallel bars of rolled steel making the railway along which railroad cars or other vehicles can roll. A horizontal bar, usually of wood or metal. Any of numerous widely distributed small wading birds of the family Rallidae having short wings and very long toes for running on soft mud. Convey, goods etc., by rails. Fresh fruit are railed from Italy to Belgium. Fish with a handline over the rails of a boat. They are railing for fresh fish. Lay with rails. Hundreds of miles were railed out here. Provide with rails. The yard was railed. Short for railway. He traveled by rail. A barrier consisting of a horizontal bar and supports. Material for making rails or rails collectively. Enclose with rails. Rail in the old graves. Criticize severely. He fulminated against the Republicans' plan to cut Medicare. A salt or ester of fulminic acid. Cause to explode violently and with loud noise. Come on suddenly and intensely. The disease fulminated. Speak against in an impassioned manner. Complain bitterly. Separate with a railing. Rail off the crowds from the presidential palace. Spread negative information about. Spread negative information about. Spread negative information about. Teach and supervise, someone, act as a trainer or coach, 2, as in sports. He is training our Olympic team. Create by training and teaching. The old master is training world-class violinists. Teach or refine to be discriminative in taste or judgment. Develop, a child's or animal's, behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Is this dog trained? A sequentially ordered set of things or events or ideas in which each successive member is related to the preceding. Train of mourners. Wheelwork consisting of a connected set of rotating gears by which force is transmitted or motion or torque is changed. The fool got his tie caught in the gear train. Drag loosely along a surface. Allow to sweep the ground. She trained her long scarf behind her. Undergo training or instruction in preparation for a particular role, function, or profession. She is training to be a teacher. Travel by rail or train. She trained to Hamburg. Public transport provided by a line of railway cars coupled together and drawn by a locomotive. Express trains don't stop at Princeton Junction. Educate for a future role or function. They trained him to be a warrior. A procession, of wagons or mules or camels, traveling together in single file. They joined the wagon train for safety. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. He trained his gun on the burglar. A series of consequences wrought by an event. It led to a train of disasters. Cause to grow in a certain way by tying and pruning it. Train the vine. Exercise in order to prepare for an event or competition. She is training for the Olympics. Piece of cloth forming the long back section of a gown that is drawn along the floor. The bride's train was carried by her 2 young nephews. A bar or pair of parallel bars of rolled steel making the railway along which railroad cars or other vehicles can roll. A bar or pair of parallel bars of rolled steel making the railway along which railroad cars or other vehicles can roll. A chute down which logs can slide. A narrow platform extending from the stage into the audience in a theater or nightclub, etc. A strip of level paved surface where planes can take off and land. Any road or path affording passage, especially a rough one. Computer science. One of the circular magnetic paths on a magnetic disk that serve as a guide for writing and reading data. Travel across or pass over. Go after with the intent to catch. The act of participating in an athletic competition involving running on a track. An endless metal belt on which tracked vehicles move over the ground. A course over which races are run. Evidence pointing to a possible solution. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. The title track of the album. A line or route along which something travels or moves. The track of an animal. A bar or pair of parallel bars of rolled steel making the railway along which railroad cars or other vehicles can roll. A groove on a phonograph recording. A pair of parallel rails providing a runway for wheels. Carry on the feet and deposit. Track mud into the house. Make tracks upon. Observe or plot the moving path of something. Track a missile. Any condition that makes it difficult to make progress or to achieve an objective. Intolerance as a barrier to understanding. Anything serving to maintain separation by obstructing vision or access. A structure or object that impedes free movement. Surround completely. Darkness enclosed him. Close in. Darkness enclosed him. Enclose or enfold completely with or as if with a covering. Place, fit, or thrust something into another thing. Deprive of freedom. Take into confinement. Close in. Place limits on, extent or amount or access. To close within bounds, or otherwise limit or deprive of free movement. Prevent from leaving or from being removed. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. Close in. Hold back. Keep from being perceived by others. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. He denounced the government action. Give away information about somebody. Announce the termination of, as of treaties. Speak out against. He denounced the Nazis. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. Start playing. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. Express one's opinion openly and without fear or hesitation. The act of delivering a blow with the foot. He gave the ball a powerful kick. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. She has a lot to kick about. Stop consuming. Kick a habit. Informal terms for objecting. Spring back, as from a forceful thrust. The gun kicked back into my shoulder. The backward jerk of a gun when it is fired.
A rhythmic thrusting movement of the legs as in swimming or calisthenics.
The kick must be synchronized with the arm movements. The swift release of a store of effective force. He does it for kicks. Drive or propel with the foot. Kick a leg up. Make a goal. He kicked the extra point after touchdown. Strike with the foot. The boy kicked the dog. The sudden stimulation provided by strong drink, or certain drugs. A sidecar is a smooth drink but it has a powerful kick. Thrash about or strike out with the feet. Not mixed with extraneous elements. Plain water. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. My mother complains all day. Clearly revealed to the mind or the senses or judgment. Made his meaning plain. Free from any effort to soften to disguise. The plain and unvarnished truth. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. A plain hair style. Unmistakably, plain is often used informally for plainly. You are plainly wrong. Extensive tract of level open land. They emerged from the woods onto a vast open plain. Lacking patterns especially in color. Lacking in physical beauty or proportion. A plain girl with a freckled face. A basic knitting stitch made by putting the needle through the front of the stitch from the left-hand side. Not elaborate or elaborated, simple. Plain food. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. My mother complains all day. Make a formal accusation. Bring a formal charge. The plaintiff's lawyer complained that the defendant had physically abused his client. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. Yiddish, a constant complainer. Yiddish, a nagging complaint. Treat differently on the basis of sex or race. Act as a barrier between. Stand between. Have the connection undone, having become separate. Arrange or order by classes or categories. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Separate into parts or portions. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The couple separated after 25 years of marriage. Force, take, or pull apart. He separated the fighting children. Divide into two or more branches so as to form a fork. Make a division or separation. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Standing apart. Not attached to or supported by anything. A house with a separate garage. Mark as different. Come apart. The two pieces that we had glued separated. A separately printed article that originally appeared in a larger publication. A garment that can be purchased separately and worn in combinations with other garments. Divide into components or constituents. Independent. Not united or joint. A problem consisting of two separate issues. Separated according to race, sex, class, or religion. Separate but equal. Perform a division. Can you divide 49 by 7? Act as a barrier between. Stand between. The mountain range divides the two countries. Separate into parts or portions. Divide the cake into 3 equal parts. Force, take, or pull apart. A ridge of land that separates two adjacent river systems. Make a division or separation. Come apart. A serious disagreement between two groups of people, typically producing tension or hostility. Subject to laughter or ridicule. Use foul or abusive language towards someone who is morally reprehensible. Cruel or inhumane treatment. The child showed signs of physical abuse. Treat badly. This boss abuses his workers. Use foul or abusive language towards. The actress abused the policeman who gave her a parking ticket. Change the inherent purpose or function of something. Don't abuse the system. A rude expression intended to offend or hurt. When a student made a stupid mistake, he spared them no abuse. Improper or excessive use. Alcohol abuse. Use wrongly or improperly or excessively. Her husband often abuses alcohol. Utter a sudden loud cry. Utter aloud. Often with surprise, horror, or joy. I'm here, the mother shouted when she saw her child looking lost. Use foul or abusive language towards. The angry mother shouted at the teacher. A loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Utter in a loud voice. Talk in a loud voice, usually denoting characteristic manner of speaking. My grandmother is hard of hearing, you'll have to shout. Use foul or abusive language towards. Claw with the nails. A journey in a vehicle, usually an automobile. Have certain properties when driven. This car rides smoothly. Copulate with. Sit and travel on the back of animal, usually while controlling its motions. Did you ever ride a camel? Be contingent on. The outcomes rides on the results of the election. Harass with persistent criticism or carping. Don't ride me so hard over my failure. A mechanical device that you ride for amusement or excitement. Be carried or travel on or in a vehicle. I ride to work in a bus. Be sustained or supported or borne. Climb up on the body. shorts that ride up. Continue undisturbed and without interference. Let it ride. Keep partially engaged by slightly depressing a pedal with the foot. Don't ride the clutch. Lie moored or anchored. Ship rides at anchor. Move like a floating object. Ride over, along, or through. Sit on and control a vehicle. He rides his bicycle to work every day.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.